जगाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम।
सारे प्राणी एक बिंदु के अलग अलग बसना, जीवन के पथ में ना जाने कौन आ जाएगा। जीवन के पथ में ना जाने कौन आ जाएगा। सबसे निभाता चल, सबको रिझाता चल, सबसे निभाता चल, सबको रिझाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम।
जो जीवन का सार समझ ले जीवन उसका है। जर्रा निकाले जो माटी सब कंचन उसका है। जर्रा निकाले जो माटी सब कंचन उसका है। परतें हटाता चल, मन को सजाता चल, परतें हटाता चल, मन को सजाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, 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 राम धुन गाता चल।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम, 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 राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम।
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Punatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Ravi Chabra, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. So before we go to main topic, I thought let me ask you, otherwise it will be causing a disturbance. Yesterday, at the end of the session, you had mentioned the technique for handling a situation where the other person is short-tempered or hot-tempered. And if I remember correctly, you had mentioned that you should remain calm and quiet. Am I right? This is the understanding which I had got.
No, there is never a recommendation of what to do, because what to do will depend upon what the situation is. Sometimes, if you just keep quiet while somebody keeps shouting, it will lead to abuse. So you have to determine whether or not in this situation you need to keep quiet. If at all there is any advice, then the advice would be stay calm within and understand the nature of the person or the object that you're dealing with. We had discussed about how people are able to form relationships with lions and tigers, very violent, very carnivorous creatures. And they are able to form good relationships. But the reason they are able to form those relationships is their understanding of that creature is very good. Like, you go to the snake catchers or something. They actually love those snakes. The snake catchers, they actually love it. They're not harming the snake, they're taking care of the snake. But the snake doesn't know this. So the cobra or the rattlesnake or whichever snake they go to catch will, by its nature, attack them. So, how do they deal with those creatures? The love in their heart is all very good, but to be able to deal with the creatures, they have to understand them. You can't just randomly do action and say, oh, such a bad rattlesnake, he bit me. He will be dead. Why? What's the use of saying whether rattlesnake is good or bad? You have to know how to deal with this. So, how would you do it? You need to be calm so that your intellect works, and you need to understand what the other person is all about and deal with it accordingly.
No, one question comes to mind is that if the other person is always holding you responsible for triggering the behavior, or if the other person is always bringing up the past issues, even though they've been long forgotten repeatedly, and sort of make you feel small and all, and maybe at times become violent or whatever for that matter. In such a situation, what is to be done?
Well, you've given many, many different situations, so each one of them will be different. If the person is becoming violent, the person will need to be physically tied up or something. You'll have to take that person to psychiatric help. The violence is not acceptable. Then, if they are bringing up situations of the past, um, which are long forgotten. So obviously, you are misunderstanding this entire situation, because you're saying they are bringing up situations which are forgotten. They haven't forgotten it. So the question then will be, why haven't they forgotten it? They are long gone. Maybe those people never got any resolution out of it. Let us say that, you hit the Raj. Okay, you whacked him a tight one 25 years ago. Now, Deep Raj always says, see, that day you hit me. Because you've never once said, I'm sorry for hitting you, or explained yourself, or not resolved it for the other person in any way. So he's bringing it up again and again and again. So, depends on what is the situation. Sometimes people are just in love with their miseries, and they love to talk about them. They love their miseries so much, they will not let it go. They think that some valuable thing is taken from me if their misery is taken from them. In which case, that's on them, not on me. What am I to do with it? You want to live your life thinking you're miserable, go right ahead. I am not engaging with this nonsense. Then you had another situation where people say things that make you feel small. How is that even possible? Remember what Eleanor Roosevelt said: nobody can make you feel low, low without your permission. You're agreeing in some way with that person. Otherwise, why? Try going and telling Swamiji that he wasted his life or something. How can anyone make him feel low? Nobody can make us feel low. I am feeling something. Nobody can make me feel anything. And I have to find out what in my mind am I so regretful about or ashamed of or sorrowful about that if you trigger me, I will start feeling low. And I have to investigate for myself. So you give so many different situations. I think I covered them all, right? Different
Now,
situations.
I should have mentioned one by one. So I think I had given a lot of suggestions to perhaps you got confused or maybe you wanted to explain for that matter. The question is that uh, triggering of a behavior of a person is attributed to the other person, right? So how far is this practical? Because if I have a nature and if I get upset by something, it depends on my nature. I cannot blame somebody else that because of you I got angry, I got triggered, or I am behaving so and so way. Shouldn't the person examine his or her own behavior and find out what is it which is making me angry, what is it which is making me behave in a certain way? That goes for any relation.
Yeah, he should. So, what is the question to me? I mean, is there a question here? Am I ever going to say, no, 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 you should not examine his behavior? Where's the question? There has to be some dichotomy for there to be a question, no?
Okay. Uh, to put it very simply, the question is that to what extent is it right on the part of the person who is getting angry to blame the other person? It is because of your behavior that I get angry. It is because of your attitude I am in such a position. To what extent it is right or wrong, and if there is the attribution which the other person giving you, how do you react to that? That is the question.
But I think we covered it, right? If anything, if you are genuinely doing anything wrong, please stop doing it. And if you're not doing anything incorrect, then what have you to worry about how other people want to consider it? I thought we covered all that. Is there anything further? I mean, is there any path that's left uncovered? If you're making a mistake, you can't tell people. For instance, you can't be playing loud music at night and your neighbor comes and knocks on your door and says, you're not letting me sleep, and you turn around and give a lecture on your sleep is yours, nothing to do with me. I mean, that's silly, right? So if you are playing loud music because of which the other one is getting disturbed, please stop playing the loud music. That's one. Two, sometimes he cannot sleep at night. He's coming and knocking on your door and saying, because of you, I can't sleep. To which you say, look, I've got nothing to do with how you sleep. I am sleeping peacefully in my bed. If I'm doing anything wrong, I can stop it. But if I'm not, what am I supposed to do about your sleep? So it depends on what the situation is. Some
Yeah,
people
okay.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, some people use philosophy to avoid admitting their faults. For instance, when it comes to you, you should be in control of yourself. You should not get agitated because of what other people do. But when it comes to me, you are agitating me. How does this work both ways? You decide which way you want it to go. Either I can agitate you or I cannot agitate you. And if you take the stance that I can agitate you, then you can agitate me. And if you take the stance that I cannot agitate you, then equally you cannot agitate me. You can't switch it around every time it suits our convenience.
Thanks. I think your suggestion needs some more reflection on my part. Thank you.
Dhara Tyagi, are you new to the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where have you
I,
come from, Dhara?
I reside in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, ma'am.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So how did you know about this class?
I joined through the Facebook post actually.
Oh, I see.
I thought, so this is my first class.
Okay, welcome to the class. This is the book we are currently doing, and from
Okay,
it we are doing the law of karma. That's probably the post you saw.
right.
Okay, so we are doing the law of karma. I think you're the first person who's ever joined us from Facebook. That's a big change. Normally, everybody I ask, they always say YouTube, but you're the first person who's
Okay.
I've heard first time Facebook. So yeah, so this is the book we're doing. What we're studying is the law of karma, and we are currently at the theory of reincarnation. These are very difficult topics for us to enter. So you have a problem, please raise your hand and ask. This is an interactive class.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, Deepraj?
So for the physical conservation, the physical body, when it dies, then it disperses into matter molecules, and then it forms into different things. Uh, what happens to a subtle body? Does it also has this have this dispersive nature, or does it stay acclimated? So basically, the personality that it died in, does it get reborn as that personality or
Yeah, we
something
haven't
else?
come there, have we yet? Or
Oh,
we've only done what happens to the uh, um, body, na? So far, where are we? We did only body, no, so far? So yeah, we'll do the mind and intellect, what happens. Actually, nobody can answer that question, but we can do some analysis around it. So let's see. Let's see what the author wants to tell us about mind and intellect. Okay, so there were we. We were studying the theory of reincarnation. Now, why do we want to even study it? It should be self-evident that when you're dead, you're dead. Why are you studying reincarnation and what is there to think about death? Many people think like that. Omkar, we finished with Vipraj's question, poor fellow. Otherwise, he will stay wondering why have you focused on me. So, why do you even consider it? So, one of the reasons you consider it is because in nature, you find cycles. The cycle which shows us that nothing actually comes to an end. Every death is a new beginning. When the day dies, the night is born. And when night boy dies, the day is born. When winter dies, spring is born. Every time there is some ending, there is some beginning. You take a simple stick, you break it into two. You have ended the one stick, but you have created the two sticks. So there seems to be in nature these cycles. And therefore, it makes us wonder, is there some cycle pertaining to us as well? Or is it like a full stop? Nowhere else in nature you find a full stop. And going on the principle of yatha pinda tatha brahmanda, as the microcosm, so the macrocosm, we need to examine if there is any continuity in the individual, which is what we are going to do. So then we started studying theory of reincarnation. We started studying it, right? So what did we start over there? What happens to the body? For starters, you can see that the body is there. It's lying there. A person is dead, but the body is there. What's going to happen to this body? If you burn it, it will become ashes. If you bury it, it will disintegrate. It will be full of maggots or whatever, disintegrate. If you give it to the vultures, it will go into the system of the vultures. In many, many different ways, that body does not come to zero. If it is ashes and carbon dioxide, then the carbon dioxide is there. With ashes, you can see. The body stays where it is. Now, what happens to the mind and intellect? To understand what happens to the mind and intellect, you have to understand it from a subtler level. Subtler level means you have to go back to why is there any movement whatsoever in terms of why is there any movement at all? If you say that there is birth and death, that is movement. So why does movement exist at all? That's what we are going to study. Okay, who will read it?
Hari Om, ma'am, I can.
Go ahead, Janish.
Life is a series of experiences. The progression of life is determined by desires. Desires drive you from one experience to another. In philosophical terms, an experience is dead and another born at every moment. Thus, your desires drive you through a continuous procession of birth and death. This procession will continue in perpetuity until the desires are eradicated from your personality. Desires are the cause, and the experiences of life are the effect. At the moment of death, a person is left with innumerable unfulfilled desires. He may vanish from your sight, but that does not mean that his desires are extinct. The desires have to be eradicated to prevent further manifestation. The cause has to be removed to erase the effect. When the desires are completely exhausted, the cycle of birth and death ends. That is the state of self realization, God realization. So, what it says here is desires are the cause of birth and death. Desires are the reason why we get new birth. Even after we are dead, there are desires, and this can be eradicated when it is removed. So, when it is removed, there is no cause and there will be no effect.
Well, Ramchandran, I think you're not muted. Can you mute yourself, please? Right, so I hope this is clear. What is life? Life is a series of experiences. One experience after the other is our life. So if you have a lot of happy experiences, you'd say, I have a happy life. If you have sad experiences, you say, I have a sad life. If you have many experiences, it's a dynamic life. Jayashree has a dynamic life because she's running from pillar to post. Meet this company, meet that company, talk to this vendor. Dynamic life, lot of experiences, different things. Okay, Prashant. So dynamic life. Prashant has a dynamic life. He is traveling here and there. So when you have many experiences, you have what is a dynamic life. When you have very few experiences, then you are dull, boring life. So experiences are the unit of life. As your experience, so is going to be your life. When we think of life, we are thinking of something fantastic, isn't it? Oh, my life, what will my life be? Your life will be what this moment is. Because all these moments put together is your life. Now you think something big. Oh, when I grow up, what will I be? What will you be? You already are. And as you are living through this experience, you will live through that experience, whatever it is. So whatever you are, you will carry to that experience. Same thing is going to be. So life is nothing but experiences. Now, what happens in an experience? What happens is as it moves, why is this experience moving? The experiences are moving or life is moving because of our desires. You came to this class. Why did you come to this class? Because of your desire. You will leave this class at some point and go somewhere else. Why will you leave and go? Because of your desire. So every time, one after the other, as we live, these desires keep coming to us and they keep shifting our experience. Dhara is in Meerut. Now she has arrived at this class. Every step of the way. Why did she come? Because of desires. 11:30 she will leave. Why will she leave? Because of desires. Where will she go? To her next desire. Suppose somebody has invited her out for lunch on Saturday. So then next desire, whatever, I want to go. Or she may go to bed and pretend she's ill and say, no, I'm ill, I can't go for your lunch. Whatever it is, it will be motivated by the desire. Ravi Chhabra. But it is said that one has to undergo experience in life. These can't be avoided. They act as a great way of learning. You began by saying, but. Nobody is recommending that you should not undergo experience. In fact, we are defining life as a series of experiences. So if you're alive, you have to have experience. How can you not have it? Nobody is saying they are to be avoided or anything. So why the but? Your statements are all true. I'm not clear why you're saying but. As if, I said something that said, oh, avoid experiences. No such thing. Life is defined as experiences. One experience after the other. That is life. Why do they come one after the other? Because of desire. All right. Now, what is birth? It's an experience. What is death? It's another experience. So, whether you're being born or whether you are dying, it is nothing but your own desires. Now, you may say, no. It may be true for life, but it's not true for birth and death. Did you give any other reason? According to you, is the reason that people will continue. Every movement is happening because you wish for that movement. Some people will come to the class, they will stay till 11:30. Some people will come to the class, they'll leave by 10:35. Why? Their own desire. Isn't it? So what happens? Okay, so you die. Why did you die? Because of your desire. Now the question is, you are dead. You are dead means your body is dead. Did all your desires end at the point of death? For everybody who died, are all the desires over? You can't say that. Because you can imagine, right? A young girl, 22 years old. She's about to get married. She's done all this. She's done all the preparations for marriage. She's in love with this boy. You can imagine all this. And unfortunately, she meets with a fatal accident and dies. Right? So now she is dead. But all those desires are there, no? She wanted that marriage. She wanted that event. She wanted this partner, whatever in the world she had wanted. She is dead. But the desires are still there. Even an old person, just because an old person died, does it mean all his desires are over? People on their deathbed are also saying, where is my money? Who's going to, do this with my money, do that with my money? Means the desires are still there, no? So, at the point of death, you know that people have this. This is a well-established thing. I mean, I don't think there's any debate here. If all your desires get over, then what will it be?
No birth.
Realize.
Self-realization.
Acha, prarabdha will be there, right?
Ganesh, don't go all over the place. If all your desires get over, then you will be a self-realized soul.
Then no birth, no?
Yes, no birth, but in the context
Okay.
we're talking. No, we are doing this paragraph alone. Now don't bring all.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I know that. I know the
yes.
effect of that.
So when you realize the self, that is your only condition under which no birth takes place. Correct. So why is it that no birth will take place? You heard this, no? You get moksha, you will not get birth again. Why will you not get birth again?
No desire.
No desire. Then some people will argue, oh, this person got moksha and then he came back. Please define, what do you mean by moksha? If you mean desires are all over, then how can he come back? He has no desires. If you mean something else by the word moksha, then it doesn't fit into the philosophy. Then you have to define it and have your own philosophy, whatever it is. Both ways you can't have it. Ravi Chabra. Can one say that desires and experience are interrelated? Yeah, that's what they're saying, right? You're not paying any attention today, Ravi Chabra. I don't know what is happening.
No, I want to put across one more point, not that point. What I want to say is that it can say that the desires don't end when the person dies. So perhaps the body in which the person is there as of now, A, and B is the environment in which he is living. In those conditions, the desires cannot be fulfilled. So the person dies and takes birth in a different environment, in a different body, so that unfulfilled desires can be fulfilled. Will that be the right expression why a person dies and takes a new birth?
Wait. Don't go here and there. Just focus on what we are doing. At the moment, what are we saying? We are saying life is a series of experiences. These experiences happen because of desires. If there was no desire, there would be no movement. This is all we are saying. Therefore, no birth can take place. Now, don't go ahead of the text. You've read further and you're saying, what about that? Don't forget it. Just focus on this thing.
Okay, thank you.
Right? So when there is no desire, there will be no movement. But at the point of death, were there desires?
Of course.
And so therefore, we have to assume movement.
Birth will be there.
No, birth is too much. We have to assume movement. All movement is because of desire. As long as there's desire, there will be movement. Correct? So if at the point of death there is desire, there will have to be
Fulfilled.
there'll have to be
Next one.
Movement.
Logic. Follow logic only. Nah, don't go here and there. Otherwise, Zara will think you guys have a really bad teacher. So keep, you have to impress her at least. Right? So you follow. When you follow that line of thought, you say, if this be true, then the dead body should get up and move. Because desires are there. Movement has to be there. Does the dead body get up and move? Huh? Just you're saying yes. Does the dead body get up and move? No. So, as far as you can see, there is no movement. And yet, we've already understood that movement and desire are always together. So now we are in a sort of conundrum. We will solve the conundrum, but at least understand what he said so far. Right? So far, so good. Taranjit.
Yeah, hi, John. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So I think you touched upon that point which I had in my mind. I'm not sure if you are going to address it further, but just wanted to raise it so that it's in your mind if you can address now or later, right? So you raised the point of moksha and enlightenment and like a release from the birth death cycle, right? So as you said, it will be then a kind of a contradiction, right? So in that sense, if we are saying everything is in cycle, so the concept of moksha giving a ultimate peace, freedom from life and death cycle, it is not true, but that sense, right?
Good question. I'm glad you are paying attention. I feel very happy to see if someone's paying attention. Right. So Taranjit has a good question. What is his question? He says, all through nature, you see the cycle. We well established that the cycle exists. Okay, we are saying even death has to be part of the cycle. And he's saying, okay, but then what about moksha? If moksha is a way, if moksha means you're getting out of the cycle, then you are going against your own premise that everything has to move in cycles. Very good. Who will answer him?
Because when we say when we're referring to cycles, we're referring to Prakriti.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Taranjit, is it clear? See, what happens at the time of moksha is that you're no longer within the realm of the world. That is the whole point. As long as you're in the world, the cycle will continue. But if you're not in the realm of the world, there's no question of the cycle.
Okay, so I don't know if there is a mechanism that how this world realm starts, right? There has to be some hypothesis. I don't know if scriptures talk about it. If there is any reference you can give, I can read about it. Like it,
I can give
if
you
it
the
is,
reference.
oh yeah,
I can give you the reference, but I won't recommend you read it.
sorry.
I'll give you the reference, but I don't recommend that you read it. The reference is this very book. We will continue into that chapter.
Okay, okay,
After this gets over, we will get into that.
okay.
But please don't go there. Just focus on this one thing, because from now on, it's very, very important that we build step by step by step. We are entering some of the most difficult concepts of philosophy. Be warned, all of you. Everybody says, give me practical, practical. I don't know how we are going to make the rest of this practical, because it is very, very serious. And very carefully, we will have to consider what the author is talking about. Dhara, you may not know it, but by coming to a philosophy class, you've done the single most dangerous thing in your life. People think I go to spirituality and relax. No, actually, it's a very dangerous thing you do, because you're allowing thoughts to influence your thoughts. And when you do that, you better get the right influence. Otherwise, you can go off on a completely tangential journey. And you'll find that, right? Many so-called spiritual people are really on some kind of tangent. Don't know what they've got into. Some people do it in a very gross way, like they think LSD or something is very spiritual because they experience some different state. They say, "Oh, very spiritual thing I'm doing," because they think spirituality is experiencing a different state. Actually, spirituality is only normalizing yourself. We are all of us abnormal. If we become normal, we become spiritual people. The spiritual people are not different. We are different. They are all just normal people, everyday people. Deep Raj. Desires don't lead to movement in deep sleep. Is it necessary that non-apprehension leads to misapprehension? Desires don't lead to movement in deep sleep. Why don't desires lead to movement in deep sleep?
No mind.
They're
Mind
not
is absent.
manifest.
Mind is absent.
No, there's no manifestation of the desire. So how will there be movement? Is it necessary that non-apprehension leads to misapprehension? There's no connection between your first line and second line. Is it necessary that non-apprehension leads to misapprehension? That if I'm going by your first line, then is it necessary that everybody who's in deep sleep will either dream or wake up?
Yes.
What do you think? Somebody will be permanently in deep sleep. Is that possible? I mean, I don't know. It's highly theoretical if a person is capable of being in deep sleep forever. If that is not a possibility, then he has to at some point come out of it, right? Assumably. But now, say, how do you know that every non-apprehension leads to misapprehension? That I don't know, but I can't imagine that somebody went to sleep and never woke up. So
I mean that was kind of the parallel I was trying to make with death. Maybe death is just a permanent deep sleep.
But then now we've established that permanent deep sleep is unlikely to be possible. Isn't it?
But there's no.
And if you
Yeah.
have to equate it, then you'll have to say that always, if there is everybody who died went into permanent deep sleep, that means you have to establish that permanent deep sleep is there, because there'll be no exception to this. And even if there's a single exception, we're back to where we were. So I don't know where that line of inquiry will take you. Yes, Tinky.
Janki ji, about this statement that if all desires are fulfilled, then there is no rebirth and we get moksha. But my understanding is when prarabdha is over, the gross body dies. I mean, we die. The person dies. But that prarabdha is only part of the sanchita. So what happens to the sanchita number one? Second thing is
No, wait,
even.
one second.
Uh,
Try not to go here and there because this topic in itself is difficult. Now we have to start explaining to answer that is start by explaining what is prarabdha, what is sanchita. Sanchita means total. Sanchit, total. Prarabdha is that small section that can only be exhausted through experience. Okay. Now what happens to prarabdha? What happens to sanchita when your prarabdha gets exhausted? When your prarabdha vasanas get exhausted, what happens to sanchita vasanas? Nothing. These two are independent, no? One
No.
getting over doesn't mean anything to the other.
But as we are, as we live through this life, we are exhausting prarabdha, but we would have also accumulated some which is added to sanchita. So doesn't that part of that will also be ready for fructification at some point? Or
Yes.
does that get wiped out when you?
No, that's what they're discussing, that you die with desires, right? So much is established.
Yes.
So
you
forget
come
all
back.
these technical terms. You are dead with desires. You have desires and you are dead. That's
So you
all
come
we are at the moment. Yeah, that's all we are there. Otherwise, everything else will just, muddy the waters.
Okay.
Just you are dead and desires are there. Oh, that's all we are establishing. Taranjit?
Yeah, hi, Janki. I just wanted to have a view on what Deep Raj expressed, right? If we do a parallel with whatever is there, like if we say that in deep sleep or that state, there is no mind and correlate with the other Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. So we are experiencing a death every day in that sense, in the means that in deep sleep, if there is nothing, if there is that bliss state or whatever that state which is out of this world that you just referred to, we are coming back from that state. We
We'll
are
come
coming
back
back
from
from that state, right?
hello,
Every day. Okay.
hello. Just don't switch. Just don't push something and saying I said it. I didn't say it. You can say it, but I haven't said it. I haven't said that bliss of deep sleep is bliss or moksha. I haven't made any such statement.
No, I'm saying if we, because microcosm has to reflect that. That is the overarching principle, right? That
Okay,
yat
go
binde
step by
tat brahmande.
Taranjit,
So
step by
that
step.
state, so
Go
that
step.
state, that state has to happen in microcosm. That state has to happen in microcosm for sure. Even if we are aware of it or not, that is a different story.
Wait, stop.
Okay.
There is a fallacy in this statement
Sorry, in which statement?
that following the principle of yatha pinda tatha brahmanda,
Yes.
therefore that state of moksha has to happen during our state here. That's your statement, right?
Yeah, means the cycle. See, my point is that statement.
Stop. Don't rush. The more
Okay.
words you say, the more confused you get. So
No,
try.
I'm just clarifying the point that I made. I am not
Did I
saying
say
that.
it correctly or not?
So that's what I wanted to restate
Oh,
that.
if I didn't say it correctly, go ahead.
Yeah. So in simple term, other term, there is a cycle within a cycle, right? That is what Yatha Pinde Tatha Prabandha says. Essentially, there is a cycle within cycle, and that each cycle is completely expressing the wholeness in every sense. It can't be that the one cycle is less kind of potentiality than the other cycle. Every cycle has every possibility, every potential. The only ways in which aspect it is expressing itself or getting manifested, that is the only difference. But the cycle, each cycle is, that is what it says, kan kan mein bhagwan basta hai, right? So everything has that completeness in itself. That is the basis of that statement, Yat Pinda Tat Brahmande. So that cycle that we experience daily can't be beyond it or less than it or more than it. It has to be the same cycle. It can't be two different cycles. That is the point.
Okay, so what I said was just because Yatha Pinda Tatha Brahmanda is supposed to represent the similarities between what is happening here, the cycles here, in the microcosm and macrocosm. From that, you are assuming that since there is the Atman, there is the highest reality, that cycle somehow has to be replicated while we are living here. Am I
Exactly,
wrong?
because in a sense
Okay,
we are that.
exactly, then finish. Don't say anymore. You
Okay.
want to get it cleared. No, you will confuse yourself and everybody else because words are a tool for clarity. You use too many of them, it's like putting too much light on something. You won't see it. So go step by step. Now there's a fallacy. Back to all of that. So there's a fallacy in this. What is the fallacy in this? Can anyone tell Taranji what is the fallacy in thinking in this? Okay, good, but that will be good, Deep Raj, but say it properly because Taranjit may not understand what you have written.
So you are confusing this fourth state of consciousness with the third state of consciousness.
Or put it last time you put it better, that the laws of this world and anything that applies here does not apply to the fourth state of consciousness because that is outside the realm of the world. Yatha Pinda Tatha Brahmanda is within the realm of the world. So therefore, this principle or any principle that operates here does not apply there. Is that clear, Taranjit?
No, I don't agree to this. The reason is that in this microcosm, in this Pinda also, we are saying that Brahman is there. I am Brahman.
Correct.
So in this Pinda also, so all the cycles, even if it is a mixture of levels, all the cycles have to be exactly the same. It can't, that one cycle is not the other cycle. The way it is manifested is different. The way it is manifested is different, but it has to have all the cycles, all the states of the consciousness within itself.
Right.
So if that means Brahman has, if we see,
Taranjit, please think this thing through.
okay,
A cycle goes round. Is there any movement whatsoever in the self?
yeah, that is what deep sleep and we wake up, we're conscious, that is a complete cycle in itself. Right?
Okay, but that is happening in the realm of the world. It's got nothing
That is
to
what
do
I'm
with
saying.
it.
Even if it is mixed levels, every level has the same cycle repeating in that level.
No, there is no cycle in the self.
Okay.
Cycle is a movement. In
Yeah,
Brahman, there cannot be movement.
there is a movement. We are unconscious in deep sleep. We don't know what is happening to the body.
In Brahman, there is no movement.
That is what, that state exists in us also. Otherwise, no scripture will say that. No scripture will say that find within yourself. No scripture will say that. It is within us.
Yes, but it's...
Yeah. That state is within us. That state is within us.
Ranjit, by repeating the point doesn't change. The state is within us does not mean that there is a cycle involved.
Okay. Then I think we have a difference in. That's fine.
Yes, that's fine. All right, coming back to this, we have got movement because of desire. Right? At the point of death, there are desires. That is well established. But there is no perceivable movement. So how are we going to understand this thing? The only point where there is no desire is self-realization. So either you say that everybody who's dead is self-realized, or everybody who's dead is in deep sleep, and is never going to wake up. These are your options, right? Or you have to find a method of movement after that. Correct? So far so good. At the point of death, there are desires. We don't know what has happened to these desires. They're there somewhere. How, where, why, when, no idea. Now let us see what else is there. Who will read the next paragraph? Bhargavi, you want to read the next paragraph?
Should I read?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know. Bhargavi is not there. Okay, go yeah, please go ahead.
Thus, numerous desires of different sorts remain unfulfilled when people die. At the time of their death, these desires have not been exhausted. It would be irrational to presume that all of them disappear into nothing. Now, look at the world from another angle. Different types of people are born with distinct tendencies, inclinations, desires. Every human being enters the world with his pattern of thought, feeling, desire, and people are born with a variety of desires. These variegated desires could not have emerged from nowhere. To accept that they have come out of nothing would again be as irrational as to presume that they disappear suddenly. Such presumptions would be violating the code of science. So, what the author is trying to say, or what I understand from this paragraph, is that unfulfilled desires they remain when the person dies, and they are not exhausted. And it will be not logical to think that all of them are disappearing into a void or nothing. Why it is like that? Because people from different walks of life, they are born with different tendencies, different attitudes, different desires. So a person enters this world with a set of thought and feeling, and they are born with a different type of desires. My desire will be different, X desire will be different. No, these desires have not emerged from nowhere. So the conclusion is that the desires are there in our subconscious mind, if I can use the word, which may not be the right word, but they do appear when we take birth in a different form. Thank you.
Oh, that last sentence he hasn't said, but that's correct. What he has said is that at the time of death, we have established already the desires are there. At the time of birth, what is happening? Again, you see desires are there. That is very strange. This person who was born now, this child, has no experience, no nothing, but distinct tendencies. You know, some children are crying, 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 some are laughing, 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 some are very active, some are all sleeping. Distinct tendencies before any influence on them. Even as they grow up, even though they're growing up with the same parents, same environment, different desires. Where did this come from? Otherwise, every family should have all the kids being the same. You find all the kids are different, even though they're growing up in exactly the same environment. So there's already, as it is, embedded in them these desires at the time of birth itself. Correct? So now look at what we have found out so far, that at the point of death, there were these desires which were there. At the point of birth also, you see these same desires. Now, you cannot say that the desires went into nothingness at the time of death. Neither can you say at the point of death from nothing these desires have come. Now, that would violate any reason and logic. So what would it be? So next paragraph.
One second.
Ma'am, just one question. See, I think what you said makes sense. Like a lot of children are born with inherent desires. Like some people are most of the kids today are very good with their smartphones and all that, right? So it is no one taught, or they just pick it up. So if it's very difficult to explain. And one more thing, generally kids are attracted towards television, chocolates, and all that. Is it has to do with senses, right? Because the senses like it, they take it up.
Yes, but this is not the way you establish causation. If you're establishing causation, you have to establish for all cases. If you find
Okay.
any time where there is an exception, you've not established causation.
Okay.
So what do you find in all cases? That every child has his own nature. Most children may love chocolate, but some children may not. So you cannot find any causation for chocolate, but you can say each one has his individual tendency. Now,
Okay.
every human being, okay, let's say a child is born in China, he'll speak Mandarin. He's born in Russia, he'll speak Russian. He's born in Tamil Nadu, he'll speak Tamil. They're different. Now you can't say, oh, did they come with a desire for Tamil and Russian and Chinese? The capacity to speak every human being is born with, right? Now, in which environment that will express itself like that? Whichever one. So now the children will quickly pick up. Children pick up quickly. So now they're surrounded by these smart gadgets. They'll pick that up quickly. Earlier, maybe they were surrounded by carpentry gadgets. They'll pick that up quickly. The nature of the child is they pick it up quickly. So that is not establishing causation. What is establishing causation is how come they have such distinct natures before any type of influence on them is seen.
Okay.
Okay, one example could be, let's say a person is very violent in the present avatar or is in the present body, and when he takes birth in a different body, he is benevolent, he is honest, he is very truthful. So this could be one of the situations, isn't it? That the hidden desires that he has to be honest, those are not exemplified in the present body, but they are exemplified in the new body.
Okay, you'll have to presuppose these desires in a very violent person. If you presuppose them, then I suppose that's true. Only if he has the desire in his next janma can it manifest. Or if he doesn't have, like you're assuming that here's a very violent person and he has a desire for honesty and integrity and everything. Why would you suppose that?
No, he is violent, but at the same time, he also wants to be honest. But the desire to become violent is dominating over here, and the desire to become honest or the desire to become a better person are not so strong. So when he takes birth in a new body, those desires to be more honest, they manifest and they shape.
Not necessarily so. If you have a desire to be honest and a desire to be violent, and then you have always associated with your desire for violence, then your desire for violence will become so strong that in your next life also you will be like that, with a strong desire for violence and a weak desire for honesty. How can it change? Death is not changing anything. You have to give some reason why it has changed. It is the same set of desires moving somewhere else. How can it change? It's like you took a seed from this tree, from a mango tree, and you planted it somewhere else. It's still a mango. So you will have to give another reason for change. At the moment, they're saying, here is this parcel of yours. Same parcel, हम वही बोरिया बिस्तर लेके वहां जा रहे हो. No change. Taranjit, you're too passionate about it. Don't worry, Taranjit. This philosophy leads itself to people getting quite passionate about things, and don't worry, this is par for the course here. Deep Raj. Identical twins tend to have similar personalities. The moment you say tend to have, what does it mean? Not true in all cases, right? What explains this? We don't need to explain it. It's the same thing whether it's twins or not twins. any brother or sister. I know twins who are completely unlike each other. Modern science may say that it's because of their common DNA, but that goes against the principle of gross cannot affect the subtle. No, Vedanta is not against the concept of DNA. We'll come to it. Nobody is denying science over here. So, common, that we'll come to later on. The book will cover all that. Now we have to it's difficult, I know, but very step by step we have to proceed in this discussion. Right, now who will read the next one? Dhara, you want to read the next para?
Okay, ma'am. Hence, the great thinkers of the past made a careful scrutiny of this world and found hordes and hordes of desires disappearing and appearing perennially. After a thorough investigation of this phenomenon, they brilliantly connected the unaccounted gain of desires of the born to the unaccounted loss of desires of the dead. A sheer audit of the accounts of life. They applied the law of causation, which governs the entire universe at all times, took the desires of the dead as the cause and linked them to the desires of the born as the effect. This observation is in accordance with the law of indestructibility of matter, the law of causation, the law of karma. This ingenious correlation of cause and effect projects the theory of reincarnation. It is only a scientific deduction from the available data, but cannot be proved experimentally, hence presented as a theory. So, I think this Vedanta philosophy also confirms that nothing is destroyed and created, it just transforms. So the desires which seem to be unfulfilled at the time of death, they have to come again at the time of rebirth, at the time of birth, and that's how the cycle continues of birth and death. That's why I got it.
Okay, very good. So, in terms of causation, what do we have? We have some desires. We don't know what happened to them at the point of death. And we have some desires at the point of birth. We don't know where they came from. So, all we are doing is, as a theory, joining these two. Saying, okay, so I know a cause without an effect. I know an effect without a cause. I'm just putting these two together. Now, since it cannot be physically proved, it's therefore called the theory of reincarnation. Now, why is this supposed to be even justified? Because if you accept the scientific theory, the scientific law that of the indestructibility of matter, if you accept that, then you can't just say, okay, these things just disappeared into thin air or they came out of thin air. You can't say that. Ravi Chada, how does one know what are the desires of the dead? You mean at the point of death, I suppose. Well, exactly how you know them any other time. If you want to know your own, through self-analysis. If you want to know somebody else's, then you ask them, what would you like? What are your desires?
No, I'm referring to the text which is mentioned in the last 3-4 lines, that desires of the dead are examined, and his present actions are also examined, and then you come to conclusion. So my question in reference to that.
No, we're not examining any dead person's actions or desires. All we're saying is that at the point of death, we have established that the desires exist. We have also established that at the point of birth, the child has come with desires. So all we're doing is joining these two, auditing these accounts and saying, okay, I know that there was a cause, these desires, and I see no effect of them. And I know that at birth, there is an effect. There are desires, but I know no cause for it. So I'm just saying, okay, that cause must be this effect. We're not examining their desires. We're just saying, linking this, we are considering the possibility of linking these two. Yes, Deepraj?
Yeah, so how like the physical body has markers like our face and all that. And when we see somebody at one point, we can recognize him at another point. Doesn't the subtle body also have these markers? And if that is possible, shouldn't we be able to tell that, okay, this is the same person as that one who died?
Fantastic logic. If you show me your picture as a small child and I know Deepraj now, will I be able to tell that this is the same Deepraj? You look at Robert Redford. Go look him up. Look at him as 25 and at 85 and see whether you can tell they're the same person.
Yeah, but in the middle, changes happened. But
in the middle, then you can see, no, that change has not happened. This is natural. That you can't. Your theory is, since I can recognize a body by its markers, I will be able to recognize subtle body. So I'm just saying that your base statement is wrong, that you cannot recognize a body through its markers. The same body through its markers is not recognized.
no, but the same.
No.
No, but if the body has not undergone change, significant change, like me at 15, if somebody still sees me, they will still recognize me.
Wait for
So if it,
another 25
so,
years.
so, so similarly, if the subtle body has not undergone significant change, one should be able to recognize it.
It's not that it's
In theory.
not undergone change means the nature of the desires hasn't changed. It doesn't mean that everyone will manifest in the same way. It's like a kaleidoscope, right? In the kaleidoscope, the glass pieces haven't changed, but if you give it a tap, it'll look different. So similarly, your body also, the change is a very cosmetic change. So anyway, forget it. There's no change in the desires, but in the way they're, for instance, now, Deepraj, who's a student, is looking upon life in a particular way. Deepraj, the married man with children, will look at life in another way. Desires haven't changed, but the circumstances, the situations, it's all not going to manifest in the same manner. Okay. Oh, Vedanta wisdom. Who is that? Omkar?
Yeah,
I
Janki
think
ji.
we're well beyond time.
Yeah, so
Very briefly. Yeah.
so briefly my question is echo. Can we say desires are matter?
Sheetal,
I mean-
you need to mute yourself.
Yeah. Because we are establishing the laws of science here, and we say
Wait, stop. We are not establishing any laws of science here.
No,
For
no.
heaven's sake, it's well beyond our jurisdiction. Science will establish its laws. We are only taking the laws. We are borrowing them.
yeah, we are borrowing from the laws of science, and we're talking about matter. So can we conclude that desires are matter? Or
Matter includes energy, you're aware, right?
yeah, but it also has volume, right?
Energy?
Okay.
You know, matter and energy are interchangeable and hence can both be referred to as matter. Philosophically, we do that.